What do you think Zonian thinks about foreigners that come here to Panama to live? And some of them are retiring, some of them are just coming here to start businesses. What do you think a Zonian's perspective on that is? I've spent the past year and a half driving my motorcycle through Latin America, living in each country for a minimum of 6 weeks. This has been one of the most difficult projects I've ever embarked upon, and I really hope you enjoy all this content coming at you now. Welcome back to Generic Expats. Today I have a super special guest, a person that is here to bridge the gap. It is a very cool story that we're going to hear, and we're going to get his perspective on how it is to live abroad, but also he has a perspective that many other people do not have. So let's go ahead and start by getting your name and where we are right now.
Hi, my name is Rudy Waller, and we're in El Valle de Anton, province of Cocle.
Cocle in Panama. And you have a very interesting story, because this is something I didn't even know existed before I came here to do my project in Panama. You are what's called a Zonian, right? What is a Zonian?
Well, a Zonian is it's like a subculture. I don't know if you'd call it that, but it's a group of people that were born and raised in the Canal Zone area, which is a strip of land that at one point belonged to the didn't belong, was
managed or operated,
managed by the United States for many years. That was along the canal, which was the Panama Canal Authority or whatever that was running it. So it was mostly American people that were here and to work for the canal, whether it be through the army bases, through the Panama Canal Commission. But mostly a Zonian is someone that was born in the Canal Zone area back in those days. After it no longer exists, it was reverted back to Panama, and but there's still a big family, I'd say, of Zonians that meet up in the States all the time and meet up here in Panama. We just had a Canal Zone reunion.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah,
cool.
We're Panamanians, but at the same time Zonian because of where we were born.
Yeah,
I'd say.
So do you think the majority of the Zonians have American fathers and Panamanian mothers, or how is the balance of that? Do you know?
A lot of them have both parents might have come from the States to work on the canal.
Okay.
At one point, some of them might have come from the Caribbean islands. Some of them they've come from all over the place when the canal was built, and some of them are descendants, like maybe their parents married locals as well, Panamanians. Like my father. My father lived here. He was from Kentucky, but he lived here for over 70 years.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about your family story, because your family story is super interesting, and I'd like to tell a little bit about that. You said your father is from Kentucky?
Yeah, my father's from Louisville, Kentucky, and was stationed here in the Army.
And your mother?
And my mother's Panamanian, and she met him here at the beach. And
at what beach?
Amador Beach, which is the causeway now.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that used to be like military, U.S. military controlled that whole strip,
right.
And they had like a beach like with lifeguards and everything there. Where my dad was a lifeguard.
He was a lifeguard there.
At that
beach. Crazy at that time.
Yeah.
Really cool. And he came down for the military. You said for was it a job for design?
Well, he first came in the military, but he's always been an artist. So as he retired, he applied and got a job with the Department of Defense as a graphic arts illustrator, and he drew design training aids and devices and stuff like that for the military. And that,
you have 2 cute dogs here. How many dogs do you have in total?
I have about 5 dogs.
Yeah, they are very cute. They're all just running around having a good time. We're in a very privileged area, by the way, of Valle de Anton. We can see all of the valley from here, and from what you mentioned, this entire town or city used to be a volcano, and now it's the valley or the crater of the volcano. Is that right?
Yeah, this is one of the only inhabited craters of a volcano I've heard. I've read as well. But yeah, it's a special place. It's a special place. The waters are heated. You know, we have hot springs still, so there's definitely heat down there still. And it's just a really beautiful place. This year we came out in National Geographic as one of the top 10 places to visit on your bucket list.
Wow, awesome. Talking about being a Zonian here, do you have like a big group, like a Facebook group of Zonians, or is that like, do you spend time with them in Valle de Anton? Are there a lot here, or is it kind of dispersed throughout the entire country?
Well, they're dispersed. We're dispersed throughout the world, really. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of the people, when the areas were reverted, moved to the States. Some of them moved to their new locations, wherever the government job was taking them. A lot of them retired and stayed here on board with the Panama Canal Company,
Oh, okay.
Authority,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or what you call it.
Okay, interesting.
And so we're kind of spread out everywhere. There's some Zonians that live here in El Valle,
Yeah.
and there's some that live in Coronado, but most of them live in the States. But it's a large community that's very tight. Like we still have reunions every year. We still have we have gatherings all the time.
And speaking of being a Zonian and this being so unique, especially to me, something new for me, you not only spent a lot of time living in Panama, but you also lived in the US, right? Where in the US did you live and for how long?
I lived in Melbourne, Florida for about 13 years, more or less. That's where I was based out of when I went to go race motorcycles in the States, and just things from some newspaper.
Volvió a triunfar. Not only triunfó, volvió.
And that's where I liked best and set up shop there for many years.
Gotcha. And you spent, besides those 13 years, the rest here in Panama?
Yes. Spent the rest of the time here in Panama. Those 13 that I lived in the States, though, I traveled a lot, so I was just really there. That's where my home base was.
So being that you have a very balanced perspective of living in the US and your dad's from the US, from Kentucky, your mom from Panama City, and you speaking both languages, Spanish and English perfectly, you growing up or living in both countries for a significant amount of time, you have a good perspective of what a local and a foreigner might think in living in Panama, right? So my question for you is, what do you think a Zonian thinks about foreigners that come here to Panama to live, and some of them are retiring, some of them are just coming here to start businesses. What do you think a Zonian's perspective on that is?
I like to see foreigners come into Panama. I spent the majority of my life traveling and promoting Panama per se, very proud of everything. So like everywhere I went, I would tell people, we have this in Panama, we have this in Panama, we have that in Panama. That's why I came back to Panama, because all of the things that I would love about other countries, El Salvador, everywhere where you've kind of been to, I said, we have that in Panama too. And so that's what drew me here. But yeah, I think we all agree, home is kind of where you make it. A lot of Zonians live in the States, and I know they carry Panama in their heart too. So same thing when I see, like, since my father lived so many years here, when I see expats here that really enjoy it and really embrace our country, it makes you feel proud. It makes you feel happy that they can enjoy a place like this coming from the United States. It's not always as easy. It's not always as what people think. People think they're going on a permanent vacation,
Right?
And it's not like that. But once you can get past it and you can learn the ups and downs, I think you'll love it if that's what's in you. And it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you have that sense of adventure, like my dad did over 80 years ago. You're gonna love it.
So what I understand from that perspective is that when you are in a new country and you're able to embrace it as your new home instead of treating it as a permanent vacation, you're going to have a bit more benefit and also help out the locals by interacting with them more. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you have to immerse yourself, so you have to learn to accept the culture and not try to, we try to not so much, we accept everyone that comes, and but you get every now and then you get those people that don't, that aren't happy with this or that, or have their complaints. But you're gonna find that everywhere. You have people that go to the States and they complain about this or that.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Complainers are gonna be everywhere. But yeah, it doesn't feel great when you have people that never lived here before and come try it and don't enjoy it, to voice out their complaints or whatnot. But no, we've I feel like definitely when you go somewhere, like, look, my dad lived here so long, and he was like Panamanian. I mean, he always tried to speak Spanish to people, tried to, you know, smile and help people out at the races, always helping out the Panamanians.
Your dad had a very balanced experience because he immersed himself into the culture. You said he learned Spanish.
Yeah.
Did he speak pretty good
Well,
Spanish, like fluent?
No, because you've probably run into this, but most of the places where you go to in Latin America, people will try to speak to you in English.
Right, right.
And it's also part of, people want to practice their English. People want to learn when they see someone that speaks English, and it's also a welcoming thing. It's like, we want you to know that.
Make you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
So that's the same way we feel like when someone speaks to us in Spanish. Like when I see what the quote unquote expat speak to me in Spanish, I try to respond to him in Spanish because he's trying to practice. So I appreciate that, you know.
Right, right. Well, that's a really cool perspective to hear about not only your story and what the Zonian group of people are, but also hearing the best way to approach living abroad, living in Panama, being an expat. And I really appreciate all of these points that you brought up today. Thanks again, Rudy, so much for sharing your experiences, your point of view, your story about living here and having this interesting type of subculture, subgroup that many people probably don't know about. And I hope you all enjoyed the story that he had to tell. And guys, if you're enjoying all the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and see you in the next one. Hasta la próxima.